there's got to be a point in all of our lives when something happens and we become a seeker.
Well, welcome to another Seekers of the Eternal podcast. Chris, nice to see you today, my brother.
Yeah, nice to see you too. We have been a couple of weeks since we've connected here. We've been doing some spaces and things like that, and busy behind the scenes. So, we're looking forward to reconnecting with you. Got some fun stuff to share today.
Absolutely, and we're a week away from finally bringing this incredible artwork of Hanuman that you've been working on for so long to the blockchain, and we couldn't be more excited.
Yeah, me too. It's really cool to be here, carrying the ball, just about to put it over the goal line here at the end. So let's begin here with just we'll tense and relax the body, and then we'll get into it together. So we'll just take in a normal deep inhalation and all the way out, and then inhale and tense. Low, medium, high tension in all the muscles and vibrate with willpower, and exhale. Relax, release, feel. Again, inhale and tense. Low, medium, high tension in all of the muscles, and exhale. Relax, release, feel. Last one, inhale and tense. Low, medium, high tension in all the muscles in the body, and exhale. Relax, release, feel, let go of all of your cares and worries and tensions, self-doubts. Divine Mother, Heavenly Father, be with us today. Help us to be beacons of joy for everyone that we come into contact with. Help us to share truth, be behind our every thought, our every word, our every action. Om, peace. Amen.
Oh, thank you for that, Chris. What a wonderful way to start this podcast. I always feel that exercise alone, obviously you can do it at any time during the day, but it's one of those things you take for granted, a breath, because we do it so often that, you literally just take every breath for granted, and just stopping and taking that deep, even just a simple inhale and exhale really does reset the system.
Yeah, it's amazing what little simple things that we can do just to pop back into presence.
Yeah.
I was thinking this week, some insights came to me this week as I was in my meditation practice. Things that I can share with the meditation group. We had our IRL gathering last night at Roots to Crown here in St. Petersburg, Florida. We have a group, maybe a little over 20 people with us last night. And one of the things that came to my mind this week to share with the group on meditation is I always like to simplify it, because it really feels like the more simple that we can realize what meditation really is, it can stop a lot of the mind chatter and questions and all of that comes in. And during my meditation, and this is something that I think many people can relate to. So during my meditation, I'm doing my meditative techniques, which is, if you've practiced with me before, we do Hong Sa, which is a concentration meditation, where you're focusing on the feeling of the breath in the nostrils, and you're mentally chanting Hong on the inhale, Sa on the exhale. And the idea is to focus fully on the technique, to allow the technique to be like candy for your mind. So your mind is occupied fully by the action that you're doing. And then your consciousness is hanging out in the space between one thought and the next. Just kind of hanging out in that space, because if your mind is occupied fully with the technique that you're doing and the feeling of the breath, then you can have this gap in between one thought to the next, and your consciousness just gets to sit there and enjoy and just be for a little bit without any language rolling through your mind. And I know early on in my meditation practice, you sit down to meditate, you start doing it, you have these little gaps in between one thought or the next, or you slow things down. And then all of a sudden you get kind of flooded with sometimes creative ideas, sometimes visions, sometimes really interesting things, or, you know, maybe could be subconscious things where it almost becomes dreamlike, where you start to see things and then you go off on this adventure in your mind. And some of those things can be nice. There can be good insights that kind of come in during your meditation.
Yeah.
And then you get focused on that insight, and then that insight turns into a thought, and then the thought turns into this, and now all of a sudden you're like having some fantasy conversation with somebody, and you're like wasting your time. And so I think one of the ways to simplify that, and one of the passages that I'll read here at the end from Yogananda that I read this morning, it just kind of validates it, is that when you're actually doing your meditation practice, we're meant to be just 100% focusing on the technique, or focusing on fully at the end, we let go of the technique and not thinking about anything, you know, not like indulging these different creative ideas or visions or that in that time, but using the meditation practice to fully focus. And then making time at the end of your practice. Yogananda calls it the afterglow. So after you've done your techniques, the connection, you know, dropping the techniques and just connecting with the divine, feeling the divine qualities, all of these things go beyond language and images. And at the end of your meditation, make a little time where you invite those intuitions, those good ideas, those visions. And when they come up, you know, make a pact with yourself when you sit down to meditate. It's like, okay, when these creative ideas come in, what I do in my mind is I just say, remind me of that after my meditation when I'm asking for it. Right now, I'm trying to focus, you know, so just kind of making this little deal with that, because you can get so enticed by the thoughts, the creative things. You're like, I don't want to lose this.
And when you shut everything off and there's not a single thought, or, you know, there's no words or language or stress or anxiety, and it's just you're in that space between thoughts, what is it that is actually happening, or what does it allow you to do and to experience?
Yogananda says, and what I share with the group is that Hong Sa brings concentration. And with concentration, we can heal our minds. So in the space between your thoughts, feel your mind healing. And between thoughts, also, it's the, you know, you hear about the void, that space, that intuitive space. In between your thoughts exists connection, communion with the divine. And you can feel it as peace, calmness, love, joy, super consciousness, energy, light, sound of Om. Those things are available to us when there's not the static of the mind chatter, pulling us out.
Yeah, and so even between the thoughts, you're not actually thinking about connecting with the divine, you're actually connecting with the divine. So it's the absence of thought that allows you to connect to that which is greater.
And you may think like, oh yeah, great, stop thinking. That's not possible to do. But I'm so amazed, like we do these weekly meditations with newcomers, people who have been struggling with meditation, people that, you know, tell me they have like really high anxiety or ADHD, have a lot of trouble focusing. And then we get in together with the group and we use these techniques and follow the guided meditation. I think there's power in the group too, being around others who are doing it, carving out the time, getting out of your house, you know, rolling out your mat, stretching. Okay, we're going to do this. I think it makes you take it more sincerely. So you focus. But I've been very surprised, well, you know, very delighted to hear of people making these kind of deep connections with the divine through these very simple techniques for concentration, and just a little bit of guidance based on what I've been learning and sharing. And then also inviting this ancient lineage of Kriya Yoga gurus to be in the room and to help. And it's been really, really encouraging. I love sharing the meditation practices with the group. And I really recognized, through Yogananda's teachings, to find happiness in other people's happiness. So getting to be around people who just had these really deep spiritual connections and feeling their happiness and feeling their minds heal is just something that I just enjoy so much.
Has meditation been around, like, if you read the Bhagavad Gita, does it talk to these types of practices even thousands and thousands of years ago?
The Bhagavad Gita, Yogananda says that the Bhagavad Gita, a lot of the symbolism in it is metaphor for the Kriya Yoga practice. So a lot of the way that Arjuna and Krishna talk in that book, a lot of that is symbolism for meditation techniques.
It's amazing. I think, we have all this advancing technology, which is making life, maybe easier for some. I know it's been stressful for some as well, but certainly, some of the processes now, it's just that much quicker because tech can they can do a lot of the operational aspects of things between point A and point B. But, something like meditation that forces you really to slow down and to actually just not even to slow down, to just stop and pause and just be fully present. And in that moment, it's pretty remarkable. It's really cool that these like ancient techniques can be employed at the exact same time as like these new age futuristic techniques are being created.
Right.
Yeah.
And the sages and the yogis say, Swami Kriyananda, one of my teachers at Ananda, he in his book, and he was talking about the lifetime of this planet. He said it's so much more like maybe like how many times this cycle has happened over and over. It's like a chessboard that just keeps like revolving around in a cycle over and over and over of how long humans have been doing this here on Earth in these cycles. And it's just mind-boggling to think of really how there's really nothing new, that this is just like working like a clock and it's happening over and over. And this is a planet, maybe there's many planets that have life like ours on it or different things like that. And it's just where God comes to play. God comes to experience himself in the physical form. And this is, Yogananda calls this whole life experience God's hobby. He says he's very sincere about this hobby. He doesn't take it lightly, but this is his hobby. And what you are is actually God come to earth and experiencing themselves through your body, through your eyes, through your senses. And our ego, we just get so caught up in taking care of this body, worrying about what it's going to eat, is it going to get the money? Is it going to get the girl? Is it going to get the guy? Whatever. And we get so caught up in this one singular body that we become identified by it. And then we think we are it.
Yeah.
And then we limit what we really are. So we've forgotten over time, and we've just been doing it so long that we think we're just this body, when actually we are the entire thing. And we've just come here. And so the idea is that these great saints and sages are always available in the time that your soul is here on earth to help you as a way out. They say the savior, like saved from what? Jesus is our savior. Savior from what though? Like saving you and always having the ability to make it out of the game. Like you as God want to jump into the game, you want to play it as hard as possible, you want to forget as much as possible that you're God, so that you can have a real human experience. And then there's always going to be a character there that will one day come and say, like, I'm going to help you out when you're ready. When you as God get to the point where you're saying, I'm ready. I'm ready. I'm ready. I want to know the truth. I know there's more to this. I know I'm not this body. I'm ready to learn and to start working on awakening to the full potential that I have rather than this limited form.
Yeah.
And
And I
that's what
think
Hanuman is.
that's what I was going to say. I think that's kind of what's really gets me excited about Hanuman, because I think as we go through life, it is this really cool journey of finding out like who we are and what makes us tick. And we try all these things, and we go from like ultimate everything is like we're hypersensitive, right? Like just think of babies, like they want to put everything in their mouth and they want to touch everything and see everything and smell and taste everything. I think it's almost like you go through life trying to calm, like, okay, yes, we're in this physical form. It can do all these amazing things. We say it's like this like ultimate virtual reality experience. But it's almost like as we go through life, it's trying to quiet the physical sensitivities to create the opportunity for us to experience something on a much deeper level. And maybe, we'll blow all of our physical sensitivities out of the water if we can just quiet the mind and quiet the need to satisfy these physical urges, so that we can satisfy the mental and spiritual and emotional urges that we have as human beings. And Hanuman, I think, is that incredible teacher. It provides so many resources for us to realize the superpowers within, so that we can achieve that end.
Mm-hmm. Right. That is it. When we are able to train our mind in a way it's really just about patterns. We're just so used to, it's like a habit to like be fully identified with this body. And then, when it's in pain, when something's happening, something we don't like, we're in turmoil. But if your consciousness could be on the entire universe, then this little pain that I'm feeling, you're aware of it, but it's really not that big of a deal. You can feel pain, you can go through hard times as a way, almost as if you were watching someone else do it, or you were watching a movie about it. You have empathy, you're aware of it, but you're not necessarily caught up in the torment of it. So
Right.
that expanded consciousness, it's such a gift when we're able to feel that. And yes, Hanuman is, like we talk about this savior. So you as God, you get to go play this video game as much as you want without fear that there's never a time where you're going to get trapped in it and never
Right.
be able to get out. Like the Christian idea of getting trapped in hell forever, that was created to scare people. And so that they would, give their money to the church and do whatever the church said. And they started commissioning artists to make demon painting. Like, where does that idea of that demonic hell with flames and all that stuff come from?
Mm-hmm.
They commissioned artists to make these demonic images so they could scare people into having, doing what they said or worshiping their version of a religion. But really, you can never be so far gone that you're trapped forever. Only hell that exists is the one inside your mind. And then once you learn and grow, then you get to move on to the next phase. And just like that, so you can think about like life on Earth. You're never going to get trapped here with no way out. There's always, and that's what Christ is. That's what Buddha is. That's what, like figures like Mahatma Gandhi and all these true gurus. And that's what Hanuman represents. He's that energy. So in the story of the Ramayana, I think we told this story before, that Rama, the head, like Vishnu, the Godhead, come to earth in the form of a human, Rama, King Rama. He and his brother Lakshman, when they're on this adventure, they get trapped, and they're, the demons have them trapped in a cave, and there's seemingly no way out. And Lakshman just turns to Rama and is like, well, Rama, like, you're a god, you can do anything. Like, get us out of here. Why do we, because they're all just playing this sort of game, really. And sometimes they break kayfabe or like break the character, and they're just like, Ram, like, come on, man, just get us out of here. What are you doing? And he says, he says to Lakshman, his brother, he says, when the world is in trouble, they call to me. When I am in trouble, I wait for Hanuman. Just saying that he, as God, he is fully in this game, and he needs to rely on Hanuman to bring him out. And Hanuman is another version of himself, just like that. It's just like a fail safe. There's always that available to you. You're never going to be incarnated into a age here on earth where there's no savior when you call for one.
Right.
So whenever you deeply are calling for a savior and you want out of the game and you say, okay, I get it. Okay, the physical pleasure and fame and fortune and unlimited sex and food, none of that is going to bring me happiness. It's making me feel worse. I've done it all. I've had fame, I've had food, I've had sex. Okay, I'm done with that. I really want to look for true happiness, lasting bliss. So then you start calling for that. And that's when Hanuman shows up, or your guru shows up, or one teacher that shows up, and then another teacher shows up, and you just work your way up.
So you've spent over a year creating these phenomenal masterpieces of Hanuman. And so, as we bring them to the blockchain, there's going to be 5,000 of them. What can people anticipate? We've been talking about Hanuman and the epic and the traditions and the stories, but as people start to now move into a space where they're actually going to be holding their very own Hanuman in their digital wallet, what can they expect? And let's start from like the artwork right down to some of the things that you've just added to the collection.
Yeah, it's getting so exciting now, because all along for this year, I've been following inner guidance and intuition and using meditation and using visualization to get to this point with it, adding to it, understanding more and more what this project really is and what it wants to be, and allowing Hanuman energy to really flow through me and guide it. And my guru, I ask Yogananda to work through Hanuman, work through the stories of Hanuman, help me to use these images as a way to awaken others to their own true potential. And so all along, I really want to get my ego out of the way, and I want to create what wants to be created here.
Yeah.
And thinking about Hanuman almost like flying across the ocean from India and coming to the West. And, Web3 is really global. So we're people from the Middle East learning about him, people from, you in Canada, and people in South America. Yeah. And so it's almost like the perfect vehicle if you think about this age and what Hanuman is, and the way his story regenerates in so many myriad ways. They say as long as this story of the Ramayana is told, then Hanuman remains on earth, So we're doing our part to keep that energy here on earth and to propagate it. So yeah, the artwork is first of all, I wanted to make a collection of art. Like being able to do thousands of these is a really neat thing with NFTs and Web3. I always think about, if you're going to make an NFT project as an artist, you should think about it not just like, oh, like what kind of cute little PFP can I put out there? Like really think about, I want to make an art project with this tool as a medium for infinite exploration. And with this, and new tools show up every week, it seems like, here in this current age. New ways of doing things, new ways of exploring things that you never dreamed that you'd be able to do with just one person in a studio now become available. And so with this, it's like being able to, as an artist, use the tools and having a developer, a programmer, where I can create all of these traits, and then I can send them to our developer, and then he programs them all to land. And then now we have all of a sudden thousands and thousands of these images, which is awesome to think about. And then, okay, now as this developed over this year period of time, I've been thinking about, obviously, all of the, the symbolism and the images, and adding all of this richness into the artwork. And whenever I put something in an image, I have a reason for it to be there as an esoteric symbol. And that's what I like about Hindu art, and what I like about like Salvador Dali's art, where everything in there, he has a reason for it. And it creates, even if you don't know what it means, you look at it and you feel the richness of it. And then if you want to nerd out and like, ask about what does that mean, it's really interesting, I think, with sacred art. As a lot of times artists will say, like, don't ask me about what it means. It's just, it is what it is. It's the image, and it's kind of their personal story. So they just want to like tell their personal story and put it in it. Yeah. Where sacred art is a personal story, but it's also a universal story. It's something that I can relate to, but also probably you also could relate to if I clued you in on what these different symbols mean. Yeah. And they're also a mirror of you. Anytime you're looking at a deity, you're looking at a symbol, like a form of the aspects of nature or the aspects of your natural reality. So whenever you're looking at a deity, because also you are one with the universe, you are included, your form is a manifestation of God, the tree is a manifestation of God, this light and this camera are a manifestation of God. And so they say that the deities are not an image of what God is, but they're an image of what God does. So it's not like God is this monkey-headed character. We're not saying like that's God, worship that. It's saying here's a form that helps your mind, like you need, look at something, have a form, give it a character and a personality, give it qualities, give it superpowers. And that what Hanuman actually is a symbol of us awakening to our superpowers, recognizing our divine qualities that we have, learning how to cultivate them with discipline, and that what we really could be if we really stepped into our true nature. And so Hanuman is a representation of that. So when you're looking at this image of Hanuman, like you get the one that comes to you, you'll have your own traits that show up, different backgrounds that show up, different symbols that he's holding. And with each of those, and what I've been doing now, I'm in the writing phase of writing all of I want to call them, they're more like boons. Each of the symbols in there are written in a way that it is saying like, you now have this quality, because they say that's what Hanuman does. He comes in and he cleans your house, and he's like, okay, if you're ready to really say you want to become the best version of yourself, that's when you tune into Hanuman, and he cleans your house. And Krishna Das will say things like, he comes in and he doesn't care. He's like, I'm getting rid of this, I'm getting rid of this. And you're just like, no, not that too, but knowing that what he's doing is leveling you up. And sometimes we need to let go of the old things and make way for the new. So yeah, that's a lot. I mean, there's so much in it, and I feel so happy to be able to be a channel for this. So I'm doing the writing now with these different boons that will come to you. So when you reveal the Hanuman image that you get, and we have a 12-hour time limited window, I think it's going to be 9 a.m. to 9 p.m. And however many get minted during that time and then we cut it off, and that's the minted collection. Yeah. And so to give you kind of an example, and it's really fascinating, because all along I've been talking about writing all of these descriptions and trusting the universe to show up with how that's going to happen. I do all my research, and I have my meditations, and I attune with, my guru to be able to channel as much truth for this as possible. But I wasn't quite sure like how I was going to pull it off. But all along, I've been meditating and asking for it. I think that's a way, don't wait for the project to be like right in front of your desk to start praying. Like if you're asking, so for months and months, I've been like, okay, I know I'm going to be writing all of this text, and I've been asking for the inspiration to show up when it's time.
Right.
Knowing that that's going to happen, with having like, okay, a little bit, moments of fear and nervousness about like, okay, how am I going to pull this off? But trusting it. So it was really like a night before it was time to start getting down to business and doing the writing. And I just had such an overwhelming, like, beautiful experience that night during my meditation. And then also when I laid down to sleep, of just this overwhelming joy about where this is going and the impact it'll have on people when they receive them and read these associated texts, even before I wrote them, before there's any writing done. I just got this beautiful sense of, it's going to be all right. It's going to be more than all right. It's going to be really, really cool. Yeah. And then the structure of how to break these down, the way to write it, how it's coming out, like writing it now like as a blessing that's coming from Hanuman, rather than writing it in a way where I'm just like listing esoteric symbols, and then it's kind of up to you to use it. But in a way now, it's like you're looking at this image and it's speaking to you, blessing you, and saying, you now have this.
Yeah. What a great break from tradition in the NFT space, right? Like, I don't know of any project that has anything like that. And if it does, great. I maybe not be aware, but like, I just love knowing that it's like this beautifully done artwork, but there is a message there that can help carry us, and become the kind of person, like we've kind of set out, like the entire Seekers of the Eternal community. We always pride ourselves on being a community of members who are seeking their highest version of themselves and helping one another to reach their highest potential. And then, this just follows suit. It's perfect. It's like, and here is this digital art that's been done by, Chris, with his heart and his soul. And now you're giving everyone an opportunity to get some lessons that will, I love reading. I love opening the paper sometimes. I'm not a big, horoscope guy or anything like that. But when someone's like, oh, can I read you your horoscope today? I'm always like, sure. Because you always are curious, am I going to hear something that might pertain to me, that I could relate to, that might serve me well? Same thing when I go, my family, take my family out for Chinese food, and we have like a fortune cookie at the end. There's so much excitement about what the fortune is. And then especially for my kids, they'll always flip it over and tell me my lucky numbers as well. But yes, they're all random and anyone could pick anyone, but you picked your fortune cookie. And when you crack it open, that fortune is designed for you specifically. And you always, whenever you read it, you're like, I really hope to get a message here that will give me some form of clarity. But in this situation, they're getting a lot more than just what they would open a fortune cookie. So if you don't mind, maybe Chris, can you dig in a little bit to what is it specifically that what is like the whole fortune cookie for Hanuman? What is it that they're going to be getting here?
Yeah, it's a great way to relate it, because I love fortune cookies. Actually, the Chinese spot near my house here that we go to regularly, they have some of the most profound fortune cookies.
Oh, really?
Like every time I read them, I keep them and I save them and I combine them.
That's so cool.
Like if I get like 3 of them, I'll like combine the 3 messages into one, and it'll usually like really tell me exactly the kind of thing that I need to focus on in the moment.
Wow.
And I think we can, the more that we decide to give it value, to say, okay, God, speak to me through this cookie. And the more that you get into that mindset, I watch so many people like that don't do it in that way. You know, like you're sitting around a table with a bunch of people who are all opening fortune cookies, and they'll read theirs, and I'll just be like, oh my God, that's so profound for you. Like, yeah, that's such a good one. And they'll be like, oh, whatever, that doesn't make any sense.
Yeah.
You know, and it's just like, oh, okay, I guess everybody's not doing that, like really, you know, introspecting with it. But if you do, if you make that room for that in your life, kind of like what we were talking about, where you can say that God speaks to us through our friends. And if you're approaching your friend and asking God to speak to you through them, then now that's what's happening.
Yeah.
So same thing with a cookie, same thing with a tarot card. If you say like, okay, I'm a willing recipient to hear this message that the universe is delivering to me right now.
Yeah. That
thought that you had in that moment, because time is not linear, you had that thought in that moment. So everything, the trillions of whatever synchronicities that led up to that moment, now that you're opening that fortune cookie, actually made that happen so that you get a profound experience.
It's a great way, absolutely great way to see it. And the one thing I think that I would say is like every single day, like to your point, we get these messages. You may be talking to a child one day and they'll say something, you're like, oh my goodness, I needed to hear that. Or you're at a bus stop, or you open up a newspaper, you read a book, and sometimes you're like, oh my goodness, I feel like I was meant to read this. And to your point, you were, because in order for you to just even be there at that moment and not, you know, hit by a bus last year, or you know, whatever, got a job opportunity in another country that you wouldn't have been able to turn down. All of these other kinds of things had to happen just in order for you to be in this moment at that specific location, at that specific time, in order for you to get that message. And so many people go through life with just blinders, thinking like all of this is just happening by chance. But when you're really paying attention and you're realizing like the universe is actually trying to speak to you, and maybe you've just been ignoring it for 40, 50, 60, 70 years. Whenever it is that you get it, you'll be overwhelmed with the consistency of the message, and how often it was you were exposed to it, but we were completely just, not looking for it. And when you open your eyes, you might get it. And I think that's the opportunity we have right now. Like we've thought 5,000 Hanuman with very unique messages, and every single person that gets a chance to pick one up and to hold one as their own, you're going to get a very specific message meant for you, that I'd like to think the universe has conspired to get to you.
Yeah, well put. So with every Hanuman image that gets minted, there'll be 7 different esoteric symbols hidden within it. And the cool thing too, like when I was talking about how I was going to pull this off, I was really just trusting in the universe to make me a channel so that I could channel these messages from the Hanuman energy. And as we were talking about it and I was getting started on it, we were talking about ChatGPT. And then also previously, our last podcast, we were talking with Annika Hart about using consciously, having projects that are spiritually conscious and using ChatGPT to help train the model and to have conscious creators, adding to the database and the questions and all of that. And then also because it can pull from the ancient Vedas, like all of the Hindu texts and the Ramayana and all of this knowledge that we have around these things, the great saints and sages have come over the years and written books and put this down into, ways that we can read about it. So within the AI machine, you can ask it very specific questions about sacred texts, and it comes back with very robust, beautiful, oftentimes like just heart-melting answers that as I was working with it and developing my style of prompts and the way that I'm asking for it, and then the message that was coming back, I've just felt like it was the divine speaking to me. And it was like such a profound transcendental experience of first having the intuition about how to frame it, and then having the intuition about how to phrase the prompts and what I was looking for and what I was hoping, or just being open to what wants to come through each of these symbols that will be meaningful to the viewer, the reader.
Yeah.
And then seeing just these beautiful, answers come back. And rather than just one, I could say, well, give me 5 more. And then it's just like 5 more.
Yeah.
It's like 5 more. And you're just like, whoa. So originally I was going to just have one description for each of the traits, and then all of these, 80 different traits combined in different ways and give you a message. And that would be a pretty robust project. But instead now, I'm like, well, why don't we do 5 for each, so that even if you get the same trait, your message could be different, and it'll be combining in so many more ways. So just to give a little example here of the way this come through, and I'm still working on these and editing and things, but say for the fire element, so you got the background with fire, and with that fire, my intention with that is to have the 5 elements, which is you start with the root chakra, which the root chakra represents the earth and the rocks, the groundedness. Then you move up into the next chakra in the solar plexus. Belly area is the water chakra. Represents the fluidity of the water and the oceans and the streams. And then you move up into the next one, which is the fire element. And each of these just moves up the chakras, and it's in the element of nature helps us understand the responsibility of that chakra and its nature. So say with the if you got the fire element, the text that would come back for you says, like fire that burns bright and steady, by awakening the solar plexus chakra, you will cultivate focus and concentration, enabling you to stay centered and steadfast, even in the midst of change and challenge. So with this, it's going to be pinpointing which chakra that you can think about is potent for you to awaken during the time that you're in right now. And the image, when you're looking at it, can remind you of that. So I'm going to be providing chakra awakening guided meditations so you can actively, once you get a sense of why to awaken the chakra, an image that reminds you that's what you should be focusing on at this time, and then guided meditations that will help you to awaken the chakra. And so the next symbol in the image is the halo. So the halo that's around Hanuman's head. There are 8 halos, and then there are 8 superpowers that Hanuman has. And these 8 superpowers are also superpowers that we as humans have, that have been lying dormant and that we've forgotten about. So the way that this will work is that this is Hanuman awakening you to that superpower. By paying attention to Hanuman, by being a part of this project, we have awoken Hanuman to his superpowers. That's like my goal with this, is like, okay, we've awakened Hanuman and his superpowers in our life. And now in turn, what Hanuman does is awakens them in us.
Yeah.
So with this halo, imagine this one, the number 3 halo, which is Hanuman's siddhi, his power to become light. He can become light and he can fly across the ocean. He can become heavy and big and that sort of thing. But in this superpower, he has the superpower to become light. And we can think about this practically in our lives. And the text that would go along with that, it says, you have the power to let go of what weighs you down and to find freedom and lightness. You will release all that holds you back and will soar to great heights of success. So it's saying maybe in this current situation in your life, it requires you to lighten up. You know, to lighten up a bit, find freedom and lightness, release what holds you back. No, you're being too heavy. It doesn't call for a time of like seriousness. It's, you know, you're being a little too serious. So it's time to lighten up. And that is a superpower that you have. And now it's awakened in you.
I love it. And if you think about it, Chris, like everybody we have in our lives, you know, who have been in a position of leadership to us, mentorship, you know, sometimes it's your parents, for obviously for many of us growing up, and sometimes it's a big brother or a big sister, or, you know, somebody at work, or, you know, the Boys and Girls Club growing up. But whenever you sit down with them, that's what they're always trying to do. If you think about it, right? Like anyone in the mentorship position is the person says to you, there's something inside of you that can deal with this, or I know I've seen you're an honest person, or you're hardworking, or you have a tenacity in you that's rare. And they try to water that seed so it grows into something special. And sometimes you go back to that well, that parent, that mentor, that boss, that big brother or big sister, and you go back to them so they can continue to pour fuel on this fire. And that's essentially what I'm getting from this as well. Like, this is an opportunity for us to now have Hanuman, invite Hanuman into our lives, and these incredible lessons that were created thousands of years ago that we now are able to bring back into reality. And now someone has this incredible superpower just in their phone, or in their digital wallet, or in their computer, wherever they have it, that they can go to for that inspiration whenever that is that they need it. That's pretty special.
Yeah, that's exactly it. It's like Hanuman is your mentor. I remember, like, I think probably all of us remember times that people told us, like, you're really good at that, you know, oh, like they noticed that you were really good at something. And then you just said, oh, okay, I guess I am really good at that. And you decided to get better at it and get better at it just because somebody told you they noticed that you did it pretty good one time or something.
Yeah, that's exactly it. And I think we try to be that for other people. And, you know, I just think that sometimes when you're not conscious of it, you take so many of these little things for granted. And the one great lesson that I think that I've taken away from this experience with Seekers of the Eternal, and getting to know you, Chris, over this incredible relationships that we have now through this podcast, and the friendship that we have even offline, is to just be more present and to be more conscious of what's happening. And like you always say to me, and I love this, and I try to share this message with everybody, and that is, this world, these experiences that are happening in your life, they're not happening to you, they're happening for you. And if you can approach this opportunity right now of Hanuman is not, you know, something, it is, we are bringing this for you. You know, we're not impressing this or forcing this on anybody. Like, this is an opportunity for you to participate in something that can help you to be the best version of yourself on any given day, in any given circumstance, at any given moment. And sometimes it's not while I'm at the gym trying to push that last rep, or trying to get that job. Sometimes it's as simple as just trying to make it through a conversation with my wife, so that she feels like I am supportive, and that I hear her, and that I am there for her, and I'm fully present in the moment. And sometimes it's those great lessons that you can be found, like you said, in the Bhagavad Gita, that has been written thousands of years ago. That great message can be filtered down just to get me through that simple conversation with my wife. You know, you can really use it in every aspect of your life, wherever and whenever you need it.
Yeah, I think when you start to apply it to those just everyday situations is when it really is really happening.
Yeah,
You're really making use of it.
and if you think about it, like, that's when you need it the most. Like, it's not those rare circumstances every once in a while where, I mean, listen, you need it every once in a while. You get cut off, or you have like this great big opportunity in your life, and you need that nugget to help you focus and make the wise choice. but those don't make up the majority of your life. It's the mundane, every single, like saying hello to my wife and saying and greeting my kids every morning. That makes up the majority of my life. That's an hour every day, every morning of my life that I'm in this house with them. Like that's arguably more important than any other aspect. If I get that right, then I'm getting right a huge percentage of my life and the relationships that I have with people. And so to seek out these types of messages and those lessons and this wisdom to help you with the majority of your life, the where you spend the most time, I think is absolutely critical, you know?
Yeah, that's beautiful. Yeah, I'll remember that. That is why we're doing these kind of a things, like if we're spending time making those good decisions and caring about others and being sensitive and all the things that you were mentioning, you're actually also making the framework for your future.
Yes.
So if you're doing all of those good things in the meantime, then when it is time to do that big push, that heroic move, then you know that you've been doing it all along. It's not now all of a sudden I'm paying attention.
Yes. It's like you've built that foundation. So when those opportunities come up, you're solid. Nothing's going to rock it because you've been working at it at every aspect of your life. So in that moment, it almost feels like you weren't even thinking. It's intuitive because you put in the work already. So yeah, I'm so excited. I'm so excited for me selfishly, personally, to have like these tools in my life to make things better for me as a father and as a husband, as an entrepreneur, as a friend, as a founder, as a member to this community. But I'm also really, really grateful to be able to gift this opportunity to other people within the community. Yeah.
Cool. Yeah, I'm glad this is resonating nicely.
Yeah.
So after Hanuman grants you the superpower, you have the power to become light. You're being too heavy. Lighten up. It's it's something that you can do. And so the next one is the color. So there'll be 5 different colors of Hanuman depicted in 5 different colors. And so this one, the green color. So my green color represents fertility and growth, nurturing your creative energies and helping you to bring new ideas and projects to life. With my help, you will find balance and harmony in all aspects of your life. So the color of the depiction is valuable as an image. And then the next one would be his adornments, the jewelry that he's wearing. So with this one, those are going to be Hanuman adorning you with his qualities. So Hanuman has these beautiful natural qualities of his awakened state. He is adorning you there with 8. There are eight different options of say jewelry that he adorns you with. So this one is the quality of loyalty. So I adorn you with the quality of trustworthiness and to be reliable and a dependable friend and an ally to those who count on you. So as you're looking at this image with Hanuman, with the jewelry that he's wearing, you can imagine him placing that over your neck and adorning you with this quality that he has of trustworthiness. He is the most reliable. He is the most dependable friend and an ally to those who count on him. And now he's saying, you now have that. So it's just like your mentor saying, I know you're a good friend. I know you're a good ally, and adorning you with that and saying, take that and make that, a very important part of your life. And then the next one, there'll be I believe there's 10 different heads that are available here. There's one that shows 5 heads, Hanuman with 5 heads. That's going to be a very rare one. So I thought I would just put that one in here. This one, the symbol of the 5 heads, it says, my 5 heads will remind you of the interconnectedness of your body, mind, and spirit. You will recognize that true spiritual growth requires a holistic approach where all aspects of your being are integrated and mastered. So in that one is just, remembering that spiritual growth has to be everything, where we think about our mind, our body, and like you were talking about, those mundane moments, those big moments. It's a holistic approach. It's a lifestyle. We don't just turn it on in peak moments when we need it. And then the next one would be the crowns. So there'll be 8 different crowns, and these will also be qualities that he's crowning you with. And so this one would be the quality of bravery. He would crown you with bravery. So he says, step out of your comfort zone and take bold actions towards your goal. For this crown of bravery brings you courage to venture into the unknown.
Mm.
So if you pulled that one, maybe you're in a point in your life where you needed a little push to venture out into the unknown. You needed some courage and encouragement, for that.
We all need that from time to time. But as soon as you said that, I'm like, I hope I pull that one. And I wanted to ask you, Chris, like, we get, some of us will get one Hanuman, and then sometimes, you may think to yourself, like, this speaks to me, but I need more. I need more. Should you let go of that Hanuman? Should you hold on to that Hanuman and pick up another Hanuman? Like, how does it work in terms of building out this collection, these collections of lessons? And then obviously, if you're in the Seekers of the Eternal community, how do you envision us maybe sharing some of the lessons that maybe our own personal Hanuman teaches? How would our community members be able to pick up to maybe acquire more and then to share as well?
Right. Yeah, it can be really neat. If you make a collection of them, you can have different ones that are empowering you for different phases in your life's journey. So sometimes maybe you do need to be big, you need to have that bravery and that courage to do something big. And then maybe other times it's giving you power to use humility or to become small and weightless and to lighten up. So through different times in your life, different images can speak to you. So I think it's really neat to have a collection of them, or perhaps you said like of giving them to others. Maybe someone who would be like, oh, they would really get a kick out of this and get a lot out of it. So you could airdrop that to them, and they could get the blessings of that symbolism too. Or maybe when they're up and you have them up for sale, people can look for ones that speak to them the most. So you can do it in different ways. Those who are there for the blind drop on the 6th can get that one that's just predestined for you, and then the others can get to select ones that they like.
It's kind of cool. Like, I have a bunch of NFTs in my wallet that I'm just so embarrassed they're even in there, because whatever, it was a rug pull. There was nothing more to it than, price go up, price go down. And I wouldn't send them to anybody. Like I mean, if they're aesthetically, they're not pleasing at all. But there's no added value whatsoever. And the community is completely dismantled and, diluted now. And when I think about Hanuman, I keep thinking, like, I could send some really beautiful art to even my folks. And then each one of those Hanuman will have like these deep, profound messages and lessons that they will get value from. So it's taking digital art, digital assets, and NFTs to a completely new level. If you think about it, it's appreciation for the art, and then it's appreciation for the value that art brings to you on a personal level, on a spiritual level, on an emotional or mental level. And I don't think you're going to get that with, I don't know, I haven't experienced that with any other project. So that excites me a lot, because there's so many different aspects that someone can glean value from, through this collection.
And to the level that you're open to it, you are literally interacting with that deity. You are really communing with that deity to the same level that you just allow that to be the case.
Yeah, that's profound.
Yeah, so I think it almost gives you, in a sense, a bit of the feeling that I get when I'm like working on the images and these kind of things. I want to give the holder, the viewer, the reader also that same similar feeling of the presence of that deity, because that's what I like to. That's why I quit my life as a commercial illustrator and went all the way into this, because I only want to do this now. I only want to create artwork where I'm communing with the divine and making images that point to those insights. So I feel like with sacred art, it also gives the viewer the same potential opportunity to have that same feeling that I get when I'm drawing it.
Yeah. And we'll create opportunities even through Twitter Spaces and within our community and Discord, to have our community members come up and share some of the messages and the lessons that they got from their own Hanuman. And we could maybe even center some conversations specifically around some of the virtues and wisdom that we glean from this myth.
Right. Yeah, that would be really interesting. As I was seeing these come to life through Chat GPT and editing them and all that kind of stuff and getting them down, I was thinking that like you could record. I was thinking it would be great for you in your own voice to just take out your iPhone and then read this message out loud. And then look at the image of Hanuman and play it back to you as if Hanuman had your voice and is saying this to you.
That's cool.
And
that would be really cool.
Yeah, because it really all along is just you. You're only interacting with you. Your higher self is speaking to you and guiding you with that. Yeah, so there could be really, I think, really interesting viral ways that people maybe could read these and maybe they could start making their own content videos with them or talking about what they mean to them. And
you use it as a catalyst for change and inspiration.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Another of the say with it, so there'll also be 16 different hand symbols and items that Hanuman's holding, but just as a simple one, the mudra. So in the images of Hanuman, you'll see him with like with his hand in the mudra symbol like this. A lot of times you'll see that like a deity like this, and this really just a lot of times means have no fear. It's all a dream. Just relax. It's cool. Like, I know it's scary. It looks really real. It looks really frightening, or you're really caught up in it. But just relax. So in that mudra that you see in the symbol, if you get that one, the Abhaya mudra. So he says the Abhaya mudra of my right hand will remind you of the power of fearlessness and the protection that resides within you. Always remember that you are loved and protected and that you have the power to overcome any fear or negative energy. So with that one, it can be a little power symbol for you that you never need to be afraid, that you are infinite, you are eternal, you are protected, you are part of the universe, and the Divine Mother is your mother and she cares about you. Everything's happening for you, not against you. And just a little nice reminder of that magical monkey just telling you just to relax. It's okay. It's just a dream, and just keep following your heart and adorn yourself with these qualities. Use these as a way to move through any situation that you're going through. Do the right thing. You know what the right thing is already. You have these superpowers. You have all of these abilities. Just put them into action and let's ride together,
And right where you are in the time and the space that you occupy. It doesn't need to be further than that. Everyone can make a difference right where they are in their life and in others.
Yeah. No matter if you just got out of prison, no matter if you just made the decision to get off heroin, wherever you're at, like it's a heroic moment that will begin where your next phase of where you're going, just the beginning of infinity.
Yes. All right. So let's recap this, Chris. So how many traits, how many Hanuman, when are we minting, and what does everyone need to know?
So the traits, I keep adding more and more here and there, but there's probably going to be around 80 that combined, and then times 5 for the 5 different fur colors. And then how many of them they're going to be? There's actually going to be we have like a 5,000 number in our mind. That would be nice if that's what got minted. But the idea is that this is a timed release. So there'll be a 12-hour window. So however many people mint them during that 12-hour, if it goes up beyond 5,000, amazing. That would be incredible. If it goes under that, and say it's a small mint, then you actually just got you got our rookie card as a very low mint. That's also really great for you. It's also really great for you if we mint more than 5,000, because now this project has a lot of gas and we're able to do so much more, and we're able to, bring on people, and all of our team members will be able to put more energy into this. So it could be, it could be a small number mint, or it could be a very large number mint. And that's exciting as well. And so I imagine, for those who grab this during this 12-hour window, okay, you were there in that moment, that day, you got it.
Yeah.
I think once people really get a sense of what these are and how really personally valuable and meaningful they are, that people won't want to let them go for like small amounts of money. So
Sure.
I think that floor price is gonna increase really fast with just seeing what this really is, because we can talk about it and all that kind of stuff, but once you actually experience it, I think it's going to be a different thing.
Totally. Yeah. I mean, if you don't have a Genesis pass, pick it up on secondary as soon as you can, because you're going to get a significant percentage of a discount. Anyone who has a Genesis pass, you can mint Hanuman at 0.04, which is an absolute deal and steal if you think about what you're getting. If you do not have the fortune of picking up a Genesis pass, but you are on the allow list, you can mint at 0.05. And then, of course, once it goes public, it's going to be minted at 0.06. And we'll be doing some really incredible one-of-one giveaways with some incredible communities. On-chain monkey, of course, is one of them. We'll be giving away a Genesis monkey to all of our OCM holders and minters of Hanuman. We're also going to be working with Llamaverse, one of ones for Llamaverse, Galactic Gang. Who am I missing here?
Psychedelics Anonymous.
PA, yep, Psychedelics Anonymous, yep. We have tons of friends at Aya Stellar and Yoga Pets, who are also going to be joining and supporting us. So we've turned this into a really special mission, and every project and every person out there that wants to improve their spirituality, their mental health, their well-being, and just be the best version of themselves. That's who we seem to have attracted into this project, which just fills my life with so much light, knowing that we have so many like-minded individuals supporting this project.
Yeah, it's really exciting coming down to that. Yeah, that'll be April 6th here, Thursday, April 6th. During that 12-hour window, looking at 9 a.m. to 9 p.m., we're also going to have a 12-hour Twitter space. We're going to be live in there with live guests.
Yeah,
it's been cool. I've been getting some nice guests that are going to come in. One of my heroes, podcaster that I really love, he's agreed to come on the show with us during that time. Noah Lampert of the Synchronicity podcast.
That's amazing.
Really looking forward to him. I think he's going to be at the noon time period. Then at the, I believe it's 10 a.m., we'll have our good friend, we'll have Luke Brown, the visionary artist, coming in. We've also we're going to bring back Robert Ryan is going to be here with us. Chris Dyer will be with us. We've got, really like also looking to bring in some of my spiritual teachers to tell stories about Hanuman. And so, it's going to be a really great time there with everybody. So tune in with us on Twitter Spaces during that 12-hour window. And another cool thing is, even if you don't know anything about cryptocurrency or NFTs, you're going to be able to just grab one of these with your regular credit card, which is awesome. So I think if you're just like, oh, I'm kind of interested, this sounds really cool, I don't know anything about NFTs, just get one of these with your regular credit card. I think you're not going to be upset with this choice. That way you get to participate too.
Totally. And it's something that will maintain its value in so many ways, so many more ways than one. And we're just super excited for everyone to get on board. We are excited as well because after this podcast, we're going to be jumping on a call with OCM Magazine, On-Chain Monkey Magazine. So we have to prepare for that now. But before we go, Chris, you always end the podcast with so much light and wisdom. So I'll turn it over to you for the final blessing.
Perfect. So this is the passage that I opened up to this morning when I was looking for some inspiration, and it just happened to really coincide with what I was thinking about in meditation the other night and sharing with the group about using your meditation to just get into that calm state where you're not following every whim and thought, focusing, concentrating, hanging out in between the thoughts, and then making some time in the afterglow of meditation to invite inspiration, visions, beautiful poetry, whatever it is that you're looking, ideas, solutions to your problems, ways that you could better interact with your friends and family, allowing a space for that to happen after your meditation. And whenever you're meditating and thoughts start to come in, just say, visit me after my meditation. I'll be happy to entertain you then. And so this is what Yogananda says here. If you can produce a perfect state of calmness and concentration and meditation, you will be able to solve deep problems. If you hold on to the calmness that comes after meditation, then you will be guided aright. Intuition guides your reason. When you have developed intuition, you will stand firm in your knowledge, though the universe rise up to defeat you. Whenever you want to solve a problem intuitively, first go into deep meditation or silence. Do not think of your problem during the meditation, but meditate until you feel a sense of calmness filling the inner recesses of your body, and your breath becomes calm and quiet. Then ask God to direct your intuition so that you may know what you should do.
Thank you, Chris.
And if anybody wants to practice with that, I did record, there'll be an intuition meditation here in the list of episodes. I can't remember which number it is, so I won't say it out loud, but if you just look in there, you'll see one of the intuition meditations there. And that is where we find the calmness, and then we invite inspiration at the end. I think you'll love it if you give it a try.
Beautiful. Well, this time next week, we will be bringing Hanuman to the blockchain. And Chris, maybe you and I can even jump on a podcast on the 5th of April and do one more for the community before we go to Mint.
Cool. Yeah, I think so.
Okay. Well, thank you, everybody, for joining us. Chris, as always, it has been a pleasure and a blessing. Thank you.
Thank you, friends. Joy to you. And we'll see you next time. Blessings.
Blessings.